What's going on, guys? Manchester United 3, Parmesan Belgrade nil. Man, like Parmesan. Partizan Belgrade, innit? Man called them Parmesan because they just stunk the place out, bruv. Cheesy performance and that. But yeah, your match review is sponsored by One Football app. So make sure you check that out. The link's in the description for all your up-to-date football news, man. And like I said before in the last game, yeah, if you're watching on an illegal stream, you shouldn't be doing that anyway. But if you are, you know what I'm saying, remember to turn the notifications off in it, so you don't kind of get the goal things early. But it's good for your football news. Anything that breaks on Twitter, it's gonna come up on the app, which is super handy. If you're not super active like me on Twitter, then you get all your football news as it happens. So make sure you check the link in the description for that. Your match review is going to be a bit different today, because as you saw, I was at the game yesterday, done my fan cam. We also done the player ratings, but I also want to touch on something else. Friend of mine and his Twitter is at UTD Arena put a poll out saying, which would you rather have, Team A squad and Team B? And basically what we're going to look through is, yeah, say if you've got 11 players, 33%, let's just say 3 players, will be 6 out of 10s, between, let's say, 5 and 7 out of 10s, yeah? Then we'll have 4 of them will be 6 to 8 out of 10s, and then we'll have 3 of them that'll be 7 to 9s. Or would you rather have a squad of, say, 4 to 6s, 3 of them, 4 6 to 8s, and 3 8 to 10s? So I'm going to give you my opinion on that as well, because it's very interesting, because a lot of people are under the illusion that you need worldy footballers, yeah, to play great football, and that is not the case. All right, going back to last night, 3-0. Oli put a surprisingly strong team out. You can take that as two things. Oli said that he just wanted to get the group wrapped up, done and dusted. So we just had 2 games to spare. Fair enough, innit? I don't believe that was the case. I genuinely believe that because of Ollie's lack of system, lack of implementing any style of football, he has to play his strongest possible team, because if he doesn't know what he's going to get. That's what I genuinely believe. I think that him playing such a strong team shows that he knows that he's under pressure and he's feeling it a little bit. Because at the start of the season, I said categorically, if Ollie keeps the same energy, this talk about the youth and developing players and giving them a chance, then I'm willing to back him all the way. But I said that it would be telling when things don't start to go his way, will he still keep that same energy? And he hasn't. You're starting to see the youth players getting less and less time. Mason getting less and less time. 8-minute cameos most of the time. All this talk about Jimmy Garner, yeah, Jimmy Garner's getting 10 minutes here and there. Chong was playing, had a few bad games, hasn't played anymore. Angel Gomez allegedly is injured. I don't know how factual that is, but Angel Gomez's minutes have been seriously diminished to the point he's not getting any at all. And all the talk of when Ollie was getting rid of all this dead wood was that the young players were going to get a chance. And what we've seen instead is that there's more senior players are just getting burnt out. That's all we're seeing. As far as I'm concerned, we shouldn't be playing Partizan at home and having to start the likes of Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, who neither of them have had really a rest. Marcus Rashford's been overplayed. I was cool with Martial getting minutes because he's just coming back from injury and he needs it. McTominay and Fred have literally played every game for the last month almost. Yeah, and I just think that his rotation's very poor. It's very poor. So Ollie said that he wanted to get this done and dusted. I genuinely believe that he knows that his job's on the line. His bum's going a little bit, and the so-called philosophy that he said he was going to implement, he's bottled it. But let's get to the game anyway. Easy game, if I'm honest. There's not too much to take from it in terms of the way we played football, because I believe that performance and that win was strictly down to the players last night. I just believe that our players were so much better than theirs that we could almost do as we pleased to them. They literally came there to get beat, innit? And when you saw like the golfing class between the two teams. I predicted a 1-0 win because I thought that Ollie would rotate it. I thought that Jimmy would get a start. But out of everyone, it was only Mason Greenwood that doesn't normally get a start that got a start in place of Daniel James. Other than that, it was pretty much a full strength team, because when you take into consideration Axel Tuanzebe and also Victor Lindelof was injured, Rojo came in like he was always going to. No start for Williams. They're saying that Williams is going to start on the weekend and Young was injured, but don't be surprised if Rojo starts at left back on the weekend. I'm not buying that either. So pattern of plays, I'd say pretty much the same. No real pattern to our game. We saw a lot of long diagonals from Rojo as usual. Long balls down the line from Ashley Young, which he likes so much. The one key difference, Fred moved the ball left to right really well yesterday, but the one key difference for me yesterday was Juan Mata in the 10. Don't get me wrong, Juan Mata does not have the legs. He does not have the legs to play week in, week out in that position. And also against top teams, I think that he's only probably got about half an hour in him. But what he does give you is he's got a beautiful knack of receiving the ball on the half turn. Anyone that understands football knows that. Like, Andreas Pereira can't do it well. Jesse receives it well on the half turn, very well on the half turn, but he can't pass after that. That's the problem. But Jesse's actual receiving of the ball whilst moving in transition is very good. It's just that he doesn't have the talent to then thread passes through. So Juan Mata was just unlocking defences, gliding past players, and you also, if he's got 2 or 3 players on him, he still wants it. He trusts himself. He's a pure number 10, innit? He just doesn't have the legs. But with Fred and McTominay behind him, who do have legs, Juan Mata can operate in that position. Not as a starter, and not regularly week in, week out, but he's one of our best options in there. Obviously, Angel would be my first choice, but he's not getting a look in regardless. Juan Mata got my man of the match. I saw a few people tweet things, like Mark tweeted things saying whoever gave Mata man of the match are overlooking his piss poor performances for the last year or whatever. I don't agree with that. And the great thing about the United Stand is, like, we're not here to force our opinions down people's throat. We don't even agree with each other as a group, bruv. It's not an echo chamber. Everyone's got their own opinions, innit? I think, yeah, that if you are judging people's present performances on their past performances, you have an agenda, innit? Like, I will always judge man on what they did that game. It's just like Marcus Rashford, yeah? Like, I think he's had a poor last 18 months, but I'm not going to turn around and give man a 6 in a game, yeah? If he's been our best player just because he's been shit for 18 months. I don't believe in that. I believe that man have to judge players purely on what they're doing now and what they did in that game. And Juan Mata was involved in everything good that happened. Little balls round the corner, little give and goes. The ball into Ashley Young for Rashford's goal. Mata just absolute ping, bro. Like, that's what he does. So Little John, like, man of the match performance for me. Start at the back, Sergio Romero. I like him off his line better than De Gea, bruv. Like, he reads the game and he sweeps better than David De Gea. One of my biggest criticisms of David De Gea is he's very slow off his line. If you watch our games, there's a lot of times where the ball gets dropped over Lindelof's head, yeah, and De Gea don't come for it, bruv. Like, he doesn't come for it. There are a lot of times where Romero's picking up the ball on the edge of the box because he's off his line and he's ready to sweep. David De Gea scares me in them situations. He's an amazing shot stopper, but his kicking and his sweeping is quite bad. Like, if you understand, like, what the modern goalkeeper does. That's not me criticizing him. I'm just highlighting, like, the strengths, the difference in strengths. Like, when Romero's in goal, there's never really a situation where I feel worried, innit? And that's not me to say that he's better than Dave, because he's not. But, like, in certain situations, a team like Partizan were only gonna hit you with a long ball and a break, and pretty much Romero was comfortable. Wan-Bissaka didn't really have much to do defensively, as you would expect, but going forward, I thought he was class. His final ball still needs work, but at the same time, he's put in a lot of good crosses that don't get attacked, because we don't have like a proper fox in the box striker, in it. Like, we don't have that. So it's a weird one, because me and Flex were talking about it today. He was saying, yeah, people are always going to highlight Wan-Bissaka's attacking. And I was like, that's fair enough, bro. Like, the game has evolved, innit? He's an old-fashioned right back. Do you know what I mean? He's not a full back or a wing back. He's a right back, innit? He's a defender first. And it's one of them things where if you look at Trent's a much better attacking right back. But defensively, Trent's not on his level. So people would criticise Trent's defending. People will criticise Wan-Bissaka's attacking. They're two different types of players. But it just comes down to what you like. As I said to Flex, if we had an attacking player like a Riyad Mahrez or something like that, yeah, who could isolate players, go past them and create on the right-hand side, no one would be talking about Wan-Bissaka's attacking, because ultimately, your wing-backs, yeah, are not supposed to be your primary outlet of creativity on that side. If they are, it's because the people in front of them ain't doing shit, and we don't have a right-sided player. If Wan-Bissaka was left-footed and he played like that on the left-hand side, nobody would care because you've got Rashford out there, or you've got Martial out there. But we don't have a Rashford or Martial level player on the right-hand side, bruv. Like, if we did, no one would give a shit that Wan-Bissaka's crossing wasn't Trent Alexander-esque, because he would allow the person in front of him to just attack and not have to worry about defending. So I thought he had a standard, comfortable game. Harry Maguire and Rojo didn't have anything to do. Nothing at all to do. They marshalled the centre-back well, especially Harry Maguire, but they had nothing to do. Ashley Young just had an Ashley Young in it, bruv. Like, there was a moment where he cut inside and went to bang a shot, and I thought it was going to be one of them 8-2 Arsenal top bins out of nowhere. But when Ashley Young's puffing his chest out, you know that man's playing against traffic cones, innit? They were poor. When Ashley Young's looking confident going forward, you know that we ain't really playing no one of any merit. McTominay and Fred, I thought creatively, Fred was a lot better. Like, Fred tries to break the lines. He tries to open the game up and he tries to pass forward. I thought McTominay, for the last 2 or 3 games, has been a bit below par, to be honest. Like, there's a lot of times when Mason Greenwood was coming short and then breaking off, and the ball through between the players down the channel was on, and Scott doesn't want to play it. Like, Scott likes to play the obvious pass, innit? Like, he won't play a risky pass, which is why people get onto Fred, because Fred will try and fizz the ball into the striker and do those things, where Scott will just play the easy sideways pass. That's not a criticism. That shows why them two work well together, because one of them will go for the killer ball, one of them will keep it simple. McTominay's more physical, Fred's more mobile. So I think the two of them complement each other very well. I think the agenda against Fred, I think he's an easy scapegoat. When he loses the ball, people are like, oh yeah, Freddy's shit. But then after the game, you always look at his numbers and they're better than McTominay's. So it's one of them things where people need to analyse what he actually does. He's a pest, he breaks up play, gives it easy. No worries there. So them two done all right for me. We've spoken about one matter, who was sublime. Marcus Rashford had a game where he scored an absolute like whopper, yeah, but he missed a bag of chances, bruv. And this is my problem with Rashford, because I like him as a person. As a player, I think that he's not clinical. He's not a striker. I've said it a million times. Like, he could have had 4 goals yesterday. But it's like there's such a thin line between him being like a really good player and him being a player like this that frustrates you. And it's all mental. Like, just little tweaks to his game, like actually getting his head up before the ball's played to him and actually going to the ball instead of waiting for the ball to come to him. Just little things like that, yeah, turns Marcus Rashford into a player that will consistently give you like a 6/7 out of 10 to a 7 to 8 out of 10, and sometimes a 9 out of 10. Because intelligently, yeah, as a player, if you watch any good player like the Paul Scholes or whatever, or if you just look at players in our team like Pogba and Martial, before they receive the ball, these men are looking around to see what's around them. When you know what space you're in, yeah, it takes a split second or a second off what you do when you receive the ball, because you already know. Marcus Rashford waits till he receives the ball, takes a touch, then tries to turn without even looking to where he's going. Sometimes it works, he gets away with it and he wins a foul or something, but a lot of the time he gets tackled. Or the ball will come to him, he'll dummy it, let it go, then spin and want to run onto it, but he doesn't know what's there. And a lot of the time what happens is the attacks get broken down because he hasn't got the ball under control. He hasn't got his body between the man and the ball, and he loses it, bruv. And that's the difference when Ollie says that Martial holds the ball well. If you look at Martial's goal, The only way that goal happens is because Martial looks, he knows what's behind him. So when the balls come, he's spun and he on the turn, he's played the ball into the space, bruv, in one movement, and then he's through on goal. And then he's chopped the defender up, taken another touch. Sublime goal. Out of all the top strikers in the league, yeah, how many of them could score a goal like that? He's got world-class talent. He just needs to stay fit, keep his consistency up, because he's got the highest conversion rate in the league. But back onto Rashford, that's the difference, because Rashford's got ability. He's got ability. You're seeing it with the free kicks, with the way he strikes the ball, with some of the skills that he's got ability, but he frustrates me. He can't build any consistency to his game because it's the football IQ side of the game, bruv. He doesn't know how to get his body between the man and the ball. He doesn't know when to just lay it off first time and go again, and when to hold it and wait for people to come, and when to turn. Like, it's every time it comes into him, it's just turn, like, all the time. And when you're playing against a shit team like these lot, you can get away with it. 9 times out of 10, you're so much better than the player you're playing against. You don't need to respect them. You can just turn and run at them. And he was having a lot of joy. But the chances he missed, if we're playing a half decent side, you don't get that many chances anyway. You don't get 5 chances to score 1 against a decent team. You might only get 2 chances. Do you see what I'm saying? And that is always going to be my criticism of him, because I like the guy. You know what I mean? I like everything about him. Like, he seems like a cool guy. He looks like he works hard in training. Like, he's got a lot of confidence in himself. I love everything about that. But my criticism of him will always be that. But at the same time, I can't turn around just because he hasn't had a good last 12 months and say that he played shit yesterday, because he didn't. So this notion that you don't judge players on merit in terms of what they do in one game is nonsense. Or just because the opposition's shit, man can't say you played well. Like, no, you can only beat what's in front of you. If you put in a 9 out of 10 against a shit team, it's still a 9 out of 10. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't mean you're a worldie. It just means that in that game you played well. So Rashford was good enough for me. He rasped that goal in the top corner. And he showed, as usual, typical Rashford fashion, when he doesn't have time, that's when he does his best work. He just clarted that. He didn't know where that was going. He just knew that, yo, like, the ball's there, I'm rasping this, and it went in the top corner. So, great goal. Martial's goal was an absolute worldie. And then we got Mason Greenwood last. Great finish, RVG. As usual, he does it so consistently, and that's the thing. The difference between Rashford and Mason is, yeah, like, Mason just consistently does the same thing. You just know what he's gonna do, because that's the level of talent that he has, where he's just consistent with it, because it's all up here, yeah. He didn't get a lot of the ball, but one thing I respect about Mason is, and something that Rashford, he's shown maturity beyond Marcus Rashford, in the sense that when Rashford doesn't get the ball for 10 minutes, he goes looking for it. Whereas Mason has the patience to just be like, you know what, it hasn't come, but I'm going to keep making these runs. I'm going to stay in these positions. And when the ball comes to me, I'm not going to snatch at it. The way he chopped inside and finished that after not touching the ball for 10 minutes, it shows a certain calmness, a certain temperament to him. And he's only young. Ollie's come out and said, oh, like, Mason will get his chance and he hasn't been showing consistency in training or whatever. I think that's bullshit anyway. I just think that Ollie don't know how to manage man, innit? Because Ollie don't want to play him up front. Ollie's playing him out on the wing. Mason has shown that if he gets in and around the penalty area, he bags, innit? I think he's got like 3 goals in 4 starts or something like that. It's beautiful. So I'm looking forward to seeing more from Mason Greenwood. Overall, it was an alright performance, innit? Like, I stayed right to the final whistle. A lot of people were leaving about 10-15 minutes early because the game was won, but I wanted to stay right to the end as usual anyway, and also, like, lets the traffic go as well. So I watched it to the final whistle. It wasn't an amazing game of football to watch, but we created a load of chances, and that wasn't down to the system. That was just down to the players as a whole. Let me know what you thought about the game. Pereira and Jesse came on. They didn't really do much, as to be expected. I don't rate the pair of them like highly. I think that Pereira's terrible in that number 10 position. He's another one that doesn't read the game well, and he's got no creativity. So yeah, let me know what you thought of the game, guys, in the comment section. Your man of the match, anything that you might have noticed that I may have missed, anyone you think that deserved a mention in terms of performance that I didn't mention. Okay, and to the last bit, make sure you follow at UTD Arena on Twitter. He actually does a lot of the stats for us as well. Like, he works with the United Stand channel directly. It says, what would you rather have? So we've got the team A. So we're going to go with 3 5 to 7 out of 10s, 4 6 to 8s, and 3 7 to 9s. Or you can have 3 4 to 6 out of 10s, 4 6 to 8s, and 3 9 to 10s out of 10. No, 8 to 10s out of 10, sorry. And you know what's mad, yeah? Like, say you've got a team with 4 to 6s, yeah? You got 3 4 to 6s, or you got 3 5 to 7s. A lot of people are under the impression, yeah, that you need, say, like 9 to 10 out of 10s, yeah, in your team to be a top team, bruv. And the mad thing is, yeah, if your lower end players are of a higher level, you're cool, you know. Because, for instance, if you've got like 6 out of 10s, yeah, say if you've got like 3 6 out of 10s, 4 7 out of 10s, 3 8 out of 10s, or you've got 3 5s, 4 7s, and 3 9s. It's mad. If you've got squad A where you've got 6 out of 10s at the back instead of 5 out of 10s, even though at the top end you might have 9 out of 10s, yeah, the disparity, it kind of balances it out. Me personally, yeah, I would rather have a team with 6 out of 10s, with like more 6 out of 10s than 5 out of 10s, and less 9 out of 10s than 8 out of 10s. My reasoning for that would be, cool, it's all right for you to have 9 out of 10s in your team, but it's a team game. You just got to look at, say, an example would be like Tottenham, how they're playing now. There's no point having a Harry Kane who's got an amazing conversion rate and stuff like that if, as a team, you're not getting the ball up to man. Because what does that 9 mean, blood? It doesn't mean shit. Do you know what I mean? A comparison would be Liverpool and Manchester City. Man for man, you cannot argue that Manchester City have better players than Liverpool, blood. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Liverpool's front three are sublime, but the men that are coming in for their front three, Origi's and Shaqiri's and that's not inspiring, bruv. It's not. Like, Man City can play Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling, Riyad Mahrez, and Leroy Sané as their wide players, you know. That's what they can do. Liverpool can't do that. Liverpool are ahead of Man City in the league. You can't tell me that ballers like Kevin De Bruyne and them, man, are not better than the likes of fucking Keita and Milner and Henderson and who else was I gonna say? Oxlade-Chamberlain and them, man. Like, Man City, man for man, are better than Liverpool. But the system that Klopp has got these man in, yeah, and how he's got them playing means that the individuals are performing higher than the sum of their parts, innit? And that's what top coaches do. And I'm not saying that Klopp's better than Pep or anything like that. I'm just saying that if you've got a really good coach, he can make the sum of the team more than, like, higher than the sum of the actual parts, the output. And you're seeing that. So I would rather have a team that have no 9 out of 10s, but like, the baseline of my team's a 6. I don't want a team with a baseline of a 5, but then, man, I've got 9s. The disparity is too high. You see what I'm trying to say? So if the lowest I'm going to get is a 6 out of 10 in my team, but the highest I'm going to get is an 8, I reckon I'm beating your team that have 5 out of 10s and 9s just because of that. So if we relate that to Manchester United right now, you look at the squad right now, the starting 11, and a lot of people think we're super far away from the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City. We're actually not, man for man. We're far away from them because we don't have a good enough coach here that implements a system that can get the best out of the players that we have. That's all. Because I tell you what, yeah, when you look at man for man, the likes of like the Wan-Bissakas, the De Geas, the Harry Maguires, even Luke Shaw, I don't rate him, yeah, but he's not dog shit. Like, do you see what I'm saying? And then you look at the likes of Fred and McTominay's and the likes of Martial, Rashford, James, Pogba. These men are not miles away from other teams, bruv. They're not. When I look at someone like a Genie Wijnaldum and stuff like that, he's not an absolute worldie. He's just okay at everything. Do you know what I'm saying? When I look at Genie play and I look at Fred play, yeah, I don't look at him and say, oh, these men are nowhere near each other. Them men are the same level. They're the same level. They're different types of players, but the same level of players. They are. Like, that's just how it is. Obviously, Mo Salah and Mane are top draw, and Firmino, them man are high. Them man are high levels. High levels. Do you know what I'm saying? So, to get near a Liverpool, we just need attacking players here that can deliver the consistency that the Manes, the Firminos, and the Mane, Firmino, and the Salahs deliver. That consistency, bruv. Man United don't have no consistency in attack. Martial is brilliant when he's fit and when he's playing, but there's no consistency there. There's no consistency with Rashford because you don't know what Rashford's going to turn up. Same with Dan James. There's no consistency. The difference between us and them is only, I'd say, 3 or 4 players that can deliver consistently. That is it, bruv. That is it. Because when man looks at Milner, Henderson, and fucking Genie Wijnaldum, I'm not like, oh my fucking days, blood. Them man are gonna win the league with them man, but they might. Do you see what I'm saying? Fabinho's class, but Manchester United needed a deep lying player like that anyway, and they still do. So if Man United got a player of that Fabinho ilk, I would say get another centre half to partner Harry Maguire. But honestly, a fit Eric Bailly, yeah, or Axel Twanzip, that's good enough. Yeah, we need another left back, but Luke Shaw fit, yeah, is good enough to present a challenge with the right system, with the right manager, with Wan-Bissaka. Like Twanzebe, Maguire, Shaw, and fucking I said Twanzebe, Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, and Maguire is good enough with the hair at the back, bruv. It's good enough. That back five is good enough to mount a title challenge. Another top midfielder in there with Fred and Pogba or McTominay and Pogba is a good enough three in midfield. And then another top player with Martial and Rashford is good enough. Do you see what I mean? That's only 3 men I'm talking about bringing in, you know, in a good system. So when man think saying, oh, we're 3 years away and all that, these pundits, we're not 3 years away, blood. The only reason why we're that far away is because we got no fucking structure, no way of playing football, and our recruitment's piss poor, bruv. It's got nothing to do with how many years man need, blood. Because if we did have a proper structure, and we had someone like a Ten Hag or something like that, and we brought in 3 or 4 men in one window, we'll go from this shitty mid-table team to a top 3 team immediately, bruv. So don't get gassed and think that man need a bag of worldies. We don't need 3 Mbappes or a Neymar and this, that and the other, bruv. Like, you seeing what Leicester are doing, and them man don't have name brand ballers at the club. Leicester have a bag of 6s, a bag of 7s, and maybe a couple 8s. Do you know what I'm saying? And they're not even necessarily consistent 8s. Because Maddison will be an 8 on his day, but I wouldn't say man's an 8 out of 10 every week. He's not. You see what I mean? So the whole notion that you need a bag of wavy ballers, like, man, want to dispel that. Very sick question. Let me know what you would rather. Would you rather a team, yeah, with the lows of a 5 but the highs of a 9, or lows of a 6 or highs of an 8, which is squad A, which is the one I chose, or would you rather squad B, yeah, with the lows of a 5 but the highs of a 9? Let me know. Sick question. Follow at UTD Arena on Twitter as well, bruv, for your Manchester United stats and analytics. He's the guy for that, man. And yeah, that was your show. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, sponsored by the OneFootball app. Link is in the description, guys. Make sure you follow me on social media at Rants and Bants on Instagram and Twitter for all your trolling needs, and just banter in it. Like, that's what man's on ultimately. Yeah, man, I'll go for the channel. It's doing well. Obviously, the shows are sponsored now, thanks to you guys doing bits for man. You're seeing that the Ollie meme has gone viral, blood. Ollie's at the wheel and that cross legs. I think that's gonna last the stand the test of time, bruv. It's fucking amazing. You lot photoshopping me into the dugout, all sorts of fuckeries like that. But yeah, guys, man, I've enjoyed this today. Big up yourselves. We'll be back here again for. I'm going to do a Rants Red Talk for you tomorrow, and then also we've got a match review after the Brighton game on Sunday, which I'll be at Old Trafford. So once again, mad love, and I'll catch you in a bit.